Hey guys, for my presentation, I'm going to be talking about Edith Stein, who was a German philosopher. To start out, we're going to look at her major life events. This is a broad overview timeline of Stein's life, and each event will be discussed later on. Right now, I want to highlight her birth and her death. Edith Stein was born on October 11, 1891 in Breslau, Germany. She was the youngest of 11 siblings and was born during the Jewish celebration of Yom Kippur. Her family were devout Jews, and so the time of her birth made her the favorite child. Stein was murdered at Auschwitz in the gas chambers at the age of 51 in 1942. She was at Auschwitz for only 7 days. Stein was determined and successful in her academics. She first attended the University of Breslau to study German and history, but she really was interested in philosophy and women's issues. This is where she first met Edmund Husserl, a philosophy professor, and she quickly fell under his wing. Husserl was also the founder of a school of thought that examines the development of human awareness, and this will play a major part in Stein's work later on. Husserl moved on to Göttingen University, and Stein followed suit. Here she studied philosophy and began learning about Roman Catholicism. Husserl then moved to the University of Freiburg with Stein as his assistant, and it was here that she received her doctorate of philosophy with her thesis on empathy. While in school, Stein worked as Husserl's assistant, mostly fixing his papers before they were published. This means that she got to know him and his work very well, and some scholars believe that she even influenced some of his greater works. In between Göttingen University and Freiburg University, Stein volunteered as a Red Cross nurse during World War I. She was stationed in an infectious disease hospital. In 1922, she began working as a teacher at a Catholic Dominican college for women and nuns. It was here that she first started studying the works of Thomas Aquinas. She then became a lecturer for women's groups that focused on the role and education of Catholic women, as she was now baptized into the Catholic faith. When the Nazis started rising to power, all Jews were prohibited from working. Stein was a baptized Catholic, but a born Jew, so that was how she was seen in German eyes. This led to Stein entering the Carmelite order as a nun. Stein has a very interesting religious background. She has claimed 3 separate beliefs in her life: Judaism, atheism, and Catholicism. In 1904, Stein's father died, and her mother was so overworked that she let her children's spiritual practices fall through the cracks. Stein rejected God and became an atheist. She maintained these beliefs until she stumbled upon the autobiography of Saint Teresa of Avila. Stein was so inspired by Saint Teresa that she chose it to be her new name once she entered the order. She was baptized into the Catholic faith in 1922 and claimed that religion until her death. Throughout Stein's life, I want to come back to this slide to highlight 2 more events. In 1939, the Nazi powers had begun to grow stronger, and Stein no longer felt safe in Germany. She fled to a Carmelite monastery in the Netherlands with other nuns. They believed that they were safe, but then Nazi troops began invading the Netherlands as well. Stein was arrested and sent to Auschwitz in 1942. Throughout Stein's life, she was always interested in philosophy. This interest grew in school, and as she learned, she began to venture into other interests, such as women's rights, empathy, embodiment, and collective intentionality. These new studies are primarily where Stein's significance lies. After receiving her doctorate, Stein was hoping for a professorship at the University of Freiburg. She was denied because she was a woman, and this denial led her to begin teaching and lecturing on women's rights. She became a prominent, well-known Catholic woman and was hence accepted into the Carmelite order. Throughout Stein's life in education and ministry, she wrote a number of literary works, most revolving around religion, philosophy, and the mix between Christianity and Judaism. Her first published work was her graduate thesis entitled Empathy. Some of her other greater known works are The Science of the Cross, Finite and Internal Being, Life in a Jewish Family. Stein also composed a letter to the Pope denouncing the German regime, which would later play a role in her arrest. Stein held many aspects of German identity. First, she was very hardworking and very dedicated. She took no shortcuts and was always known for how much time and effort she put into each task. Second, Stein became a devout Christian, which is the most prominent religion in Germany. Third, Germany has produced many of the world's most famous and influential philosophers, and Stein is right there alongside them. Fourth, Stein had strong family ties. She found it hard to tell her mother that she was now Catholic, and her sister Rosa even followed her footsteps and became a nun. Finally, Stein had a strong sense of nationalism. She was angry and upset at what her country had become, and was calling for a return to the peace they had before. The most memorable part of Edith Stein is her canonization into sainthood. In 1998, Pope John Paul II canonized Saint Teresa Benedicta of the Cross, confessor and martyr. The Catholic Church remembers her on the day of her murder, August 9th. A year later, Edith Stein was declared one of the 6 patrons of Europe. Now, Edith Stein was mostly known for her work in women's rights and the promotion of education for women. I hope that y'all learned something interesting about good old Edith here. Thank you for watching, and I miss y'all.